Spare no lives, not even the elderly, not even a chicken. Those aren't the words of some random warlord. That's a direct order from a top government military officials in South Sudan in January 2026. And here's what should terrify you. It's not just one rogue general going off script, according to opposition forces and lawmakers. This is a coordinated genocide order sanctioned by the highest levels of government, including the Chief of Defense Forces, with the full knowledge of President Salva Kiir Mayardit. This isn't the first time, though. South Sudan is repeating a playbook written decades ago. Stick with me because this analysis reveals a pattern of genocide, dictatorship, and regional destabilization that connects East Africa in a way most people don't understand. Support this channel by subscribing to reach more peoples and updates in East Africa. Let me take you back. South Sudan became the world's newest country on July 9, 2011. There was celebration, there was hope after decades of brutal civil war with Sudan that kills an estimated 2 million people. South Sudanese finally had their own nation. 98% voted for independence in their referendum. But South Sudan never had a real democracy. Salva Kiir, the man who became president, was never elected by the people in a competitive democratic process. He was selected first as a successor to John Garang after Garang's suspicious helicopter death in 2005, then as the automatic choice during the transition to independence. By 2013, 2 years after independence, Kiir sacked his entire cabinet, including Machar. The result was a civil war that would kill an estimated 400,000 people and displace millions. This was ethnic mobilization. Dinka versus Nuer, and it's tore the young nation apart. All of this in the name of protecting his throne. Now in 2026, it's happening again, but this time it is worse. Because this time there is documented evidence of genocidal intent from government officials. Let's talk about General Johnson Olwen. This is a man with a record, a history of recruiting child soldiers, defecting multiple times between factions accused of human rights abuses, and in January 2025, President Kiir appointed him as his Assistant Chief of Defense Forces, a known warmonger rejected as a governor before because he was too violent, now in one of the highest military positions. On January 24, 2026, Olonya addressed his Agwalek militia forces in Du County, Jonglei State, and what he said should send chills down your spine. He told his troops that this offensive would mark the end of problems in the Upper Nile region. His solutions are total destruction. When we arrive there, don't spare an elderly, don't spare a chicken, don't spare a house and anything. We are tired of problems every year. These are his words. Don't spare the elderly. These are protected civilians under international law. This is a textbook genocidal language. But it gets even darker. According to the SPLM-IO opposition forces and member of parliament, Rat Moshtang, Olony explicitly stated that this plan was discussed with the Chief of Defense Forces, General Paul Nang, and had his blessing. This means it's not one commander going rogue. This is a coordinated government strategy. The opposition was explicit. Lieutenant General Johnson Olony Kabu openly called for the destruction of Greater Upper Nile, ordering that nothing be left alive. On January 25, just one day after Olony's statement, the United Nations warned that South Sudan is at risk of mass killing. The United Nations Commission on Human Rights in South Sudan, led by Yasmin Suka, has been ringing alarm bells. This isn't new for South Sudan. In September 2025, just months before Olony's statement, the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum published a report titled Tremors of an Impending Explosion, Warning Signs of Mass Atrocities in South Sudan. The report analyzed escalating military clashes, identity-based targeting, and warned of possible triggers for mass atrocities. They saw this coming. The Famine Early Warning Systems Network, human rights organizations, everyone watching South Sudan knew violence was building. And South Sudan has been here before. The 2013 to 2016 civil war saw massacres in Bantu, Juba, Malakal. The United Nations documented targeted killings based on ethnicity, sexual violence as a weapon of war, attacks on civilians in United Nations protected sites. Between April and June 2025 alone, in Upper Nile, most Nuer counties, the United Nations documented 635 civilians killed, 676 injured, 133 abducted, and 74 subjected to conflict-related sexual violence, a 204% increase. The government of Salva Kiir has consistently used ethnic mobilization as a political tool. When he faces opposition, he weaponized tribal identities. Dinka youths are mobilized with rhetoric about the Boer Massacre of 1991 when Riek Machar forces killed Dinka civilians. The trauma is real, but it's being manipulated to justify new cycles of violence. Now, we can understand South Sudan in isolation. Let's zoom out and look at East Africa in 2026. Next door in Sudan, not South Sudan, just Sudan. There is an active genocide happening right now. In January 2025, the United States declared that the Rapid Support Forces committed genocide in Darfur. 12 million people displaced, half the population, 24.6 million people facing acute food insecurity. Famine has been declared. Somalia is dealing with Al-Shabaab insurgency and political instability. Ethiopia just emerged from a brutal civil war in Tigray and is now head-to-head with the Amara Fano. The Democratic Republic of Congo has endless conflicts with M23 rebels and militia violence. Kenya is struggling with political tensions and regional insecurities challenge. Uganda is currently executing opposition leaders after election and they put Bobby Wine on the run. Now it's facing death threats from Museveni and his son. So East Africa is a tinderbox, and into this chaos, South Sudan, awash with weapons, fractured by ethnic violations, led by a dictator, is sliding toward irreversible mass atrocities. The African Union Peace and Security Council warned in October 2025 that the country faces an imminent risk of relapsing into large-scale national civil war. This is a part that connects it all. President Salva Kiir isn't making this up as he goes along. He's following a playbook, and his teacher is Uganda's Yoweri Museveni. You see, Museveni has been Uganda's president since 1986, 40 years of rule. He's a master of what I call authoritarian maintenance, and Kiir has learned from the best. Look at the parallels. Museveni rose to power through guerrilla warfare. The Bush War from 1981 to 1986, he promised to end ethnic divisions and restore democracy. That's exactly what Kiir claimed when South Sudan became independent. But Museveni's strategy was always about personal loyalty over institutional strength. He created the Special Forces Command, an elite unit recruited from his own Banyankore ethnic group, loyal to him personally, not the constitution. Every commander has come from the same ethnic circle. That's exactly what Kiir does with his presidential guard and key military positions stacked with Dinka loyalties. Museveni has Special Forces Command troops deployed in South Sudan right now, supporting Salva Kiir's government bombing civilians. Uganda has vested interest in keeping Kiir in power. They share intelligence, military training, and strategic coordinations. Museveni's own son, General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, has been groomed to succeed him, creating a dynasty. This is the model Kiir is following: consolidate power, never let go, pass it to loyalists. Democracy become threats while dictatorship become permanent. Here's what kills me. We've seen this before. Rwanda 1994, genocide that killed over 800,000 people in 100 days. The warning signs were there. The international community did nothing. Darfur 2003, genocide that killed 300,000. The warning signs were there. We called it genocide, but didn't stop it. Now, in 2026, we have a top military officials on video telling his troops to spare no lives, not even the elderly, not even a chicken. We have United Nations warnings. We have opposition forces documenting that this is a coordinated government plan. We have a pattern of delayed elections, ethnic mobilization, militias integrated into government forces without accountability. The peace agreement from 2018 is collapsing. Monitors warn it's nearing collapse. And into that vacuum comes militarized ethnic violence with genocidal intent. And now, I want to speak directly to the people of South Sudan. This message is for you. Your leaders have failed you. Salva Kiir is not your president, he is your oppressor. He was never elected in a free and fair democratic process. He has manipulated your ethnic identities, turned brothers against brother, Dinka against Nuer, to maintain his grip on power. He has stolen your oil wells while you starve. He has delayed elections for over a decade while calling it a transition. He is following Museveni's playbook of permanent dictatorship. But you are not powerless. History shows us that dictators fall when people refuse to be divided. Look at Sudan, your neighbor. Despite a devastating civil war, Sudanese resistance communities and civil society groups continue organizing, providing humanitarian aid, and building grassroots network for the future. They haven't given up, neither should you. Thank you for watching.